We're going to get into the latest Bradley Chubb and Jeudy trade rumors, but first things first. Does Sunday's win against the Jags change your opinion on whether or not this team should be sellers or even buyers at the NFL trade deadline? Does going 3-5 into the bye really change your opinion on whether or not they should be exploring a Bradley Chubb trade? Let me know in the comment section Y for yes or N for no to make it simple. And while you're giving your votes down there, if a trade does happen, we'll be going live here on the channel, which is why you have to be subscribed. So make sure you click onto that big red sub button, turn it red that way, and you never miss a single thing regarding the Denver Broncos. What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. Matthew Peterson here. Hope you're all having a wonderful Halloween. And we got the latest Broncos trade rumors after their win against the Jags. NBC's Peter King has reports that the Jets and the Dolphins are calling George Payton to hear about the availability of Bradley Chubb. Plus, Jerry Jeudy has been linked to the Packers and the Giants. But before we get to that, let's look at the upcoming schedule. Because I don't want to be a rain cloud right now on celebrating after the win against the Jags. That's not what I want to do. But I don't want to take a win against the Jags, which that was an expected win. That was a game you were supposed to win before the schedule was released anyway, and act like this should be a turning point, a fork in the road for this team, and now they're going to go rattling off 10 wins for the rest of the season or something like that. Because the upcoming schedule after the bye is really favorable. You get the Titans, which that part's not too favorable because everyone continues to write them off. But I don't think they're an absolute juggernaut of a team. Then you got the Raiders, who are dealing with their own issues. Their offense didn't cross the 50-yard line once with Derek Carr yesterday. And then the Panthers, who got robbed in a Hail Mary loss against should have been win against the Falcons. So two of those three teams right there, very winnable games, no doubt about it here. But Dov, who is a mystery man, no one knows who he really is, tweeted this out that I want to really make the thesis of today's show. The Dolphins and Jets are interested in trading for Broncos pass rusher Bradley Chubb. There's enough interest from both teams that they're considering trading a first-round pick for him, a well-plugged-in GM tells Peter King from NBC Sports. Here's what Peter King actually wrote. A well-plugged-in GM told me over the weekend that Jets and Dolphins are interested, and interested enough to consider dealing a first-rounder for Chubb. But to make that deal for a significant price, Miami or New York or any team would have to have a deal done with Chubb beyond this year. So Bradley Chubb, entering the last year of his contract, is owed around $7-ish million for the rest of the season. Now, the Broncos can eat some of that money to get better draft compensation back, but my question is, does George Payton have long-term plans for Bradley Chubb in Denver? Does he see him being here after free agency hits this year? Because the answer is no. It's hard to pass up on a first-rounder for 9 more games of Bradley Chubb services. And then the other question I have is, what's better? Randy Gregory, Baron Browning, and Nick Bonito plus a first-rounder, or Bradley Chubb on this defense? I'm not trying to break Bradley Chubb down, but these are really important questions to ask ourselves. Is Bradley Chubb worth a first-round pick? I think he is. And I think a first-rounder that could be utilized on the offensive line when you already have so much depth at the defensive end position of the outside linebacker spot is a good combination, a good trade-off, if you will. Now, another point I want to make right now is Bradley Chubb is having a very good season this year. 5.5 sacks, bit of a cold streak the last couple of weeks, but that's aside from the point here. But look what he did from 2019 to 2021. After his rookie season, nothing, right? The injuries were very relevant. It was unfortunate. He was not opposite Von Miller for one whole season. But I wonder if George Payton is going, am I really about to give this guy the bag after a really good first and fifth year and disregard years 2, 3, and 4? Because Bradley Chubb is going to get top dollar on the market. And does George Payton want to sink a boatload of cash into that after giving Randy Gregory 5 years, $70 million this past free agency? Probably unlikely, which would lead to a franchise tag, which could lead to Bradley Chubb holding out. And now I go back to what I mentioned earlier. Baron Browning, Randy Gregory, Nick Bonito. Bonito had an awesome game against the Jags. A sack, a forced fumble. He's really starting to look like the 64th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. So when you add up, you've already got a lot of depth at outside linebacker. And I'm comfortable with Randy Gregory and Baron Browning being this team's starting outside linebackers and getting a first-round pick that you so desperately need to shore up the offensive line, to help out at other spots. Tell me that's not tempting. And I'm not saying all this because I think Bradley Chubb is going to suck next year or something like that. But this team is more than Bradley Chubb away from being a competitive team. This team needs more than just a really good defense. And a first rounder could go a long way to help out the offense. Because Russell Wilson, he's not going anywhere. So you might as well start building up the offensive line in front of him and trying to make this roster complete. You see what I'm saying? You get the gist of what I'm trying to get at right now. Now, we can look at the Broncos 2023 draft picks here, and you're going to notice something. It's a short list. No first and no second round pick. 2/3, one coming from Indy after making a draft day trade last year. The Malik Reed trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers got them a 6th rounder. But a short list of draft picks for this upcoming year, a first rounder is hard to pass up on. So here's my trade idea. What if the Broncos got a first round pick from the Miami Dolphins? Now remember this. Now that we are in the middle of the season, it's not just about talking about first round picks. It's more than that. It's where in the first round. And this first round pick from Miami, well, it actually belongs to the San Francisco 49ers from the Trey Lance trade. And the 49ers first round pick, I mean, they rattled off a lot of wins at the end of the year and went all the way to the NFC Championship game. But they're no Bills or Chiefs, right? They don't look like they're locked in for the 32nd, the 31st, or the 30th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. I guess only 31. The Dolphins, they lost their pick. Cheating, naughty, Sean Payton. So only 31 picks this year. Would you do this trade? Straight up. A first-round pick that belongs to the 49ers, which could be anywhere from 17 to 29. It's a big shot in the dark when it comes to the 49ers. No doubt about it. It's important to remember, yes, it would be a trade with the Dolphins, but really look at it as a trade with the Niners because that's who their first-round pick belongs to. Well, that's who the Dolphins' first-round pick is, the 49ers. A for accept or D for decline. Now, we're going to talk about Jeudy in just a moment here on the channel, but there is a great deal going on over at Fanatics, and listen, it's already cold, it's spooky season, Thanksgiving's around the corner, and then boom, it is Christmas. You are going to want to be hooked up with this awesome hoodie on sale right now at chatsports.com/Broncos hoodie. Now, I got that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. So if you want it for yourself or you want to give it to a loved one for Christmas, holiday season, whatever it may be, make sure you check it out, chatsports.com/Broncos hoodie. All right, let's get to the Jeudy segment of today's show. So the Giants are emerging as a Jeudy trade destination. A lot of buzz around Jeudy to the G-men. New York, 6-2, desperately needs a wide receiver. Then to come the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers and company have dropped 4 in a row, and they are banged up at wide receiver following their loss on Sunday night. Their second-round pick last year, Christian Watson, suffered a concussion during the game, and they have gotten very little help from their wide receivers. And reports coming out of the frozen tundra are that they want to build around Aaron Rodgers and give him some real assets. But same question I ask for Bradley Chubb applies to Jeudy. Does Sunday's win against the Jags dramatically alter George Payton's plans? I think they do if you wanted to trade Dalton Risner, for example. But Bradley Chubb is bigger than Dalton Risner. And this year, he's off to his best start, I would say, at least in touchdowns department here. Look at Jeudy's stats. In his career, 6 touchdowns, 1,700 yards. This year, 449 yards midway through the season, on pace for about 900 and 6 touchdowns. Now, those aren't numbers you want to see from your first-round pick in year 3 at wide receiver, right? You're looking to be closer to 1,200 yards, closer to 10 touchdowns. At the end of the day, it's not what we want to hear after a win because no one wants to talk about selling after winning. That feels backwards. But I am ready to move on from Jerry Jeudy for a second-round pick, especially a second-round pick of like the Packers at 3 and 5 right now that don't look like they're going to be going very far this season. And that second rounder might be closer to pick 32 than pick 63. That's what I'm getting at right now. You see what I'm saying? Of Jerry Jeudy, he's having a very good season, and it's tough to want to move on from a guy who's finally looking like he's putting it together. But with 1 year left, 1 year and change left on his rookie contract, and him not looking like a guaranteed lock to get his 5th-year contract picked up, you got to consider all your options. And I hate to be the rain cloud once again, but this Broncos team at 3 and 5, they don't look like they're making the playoffs still. Let's not act like a win against the Jags is going to be the turning point in this season to them finishing 12 and 5. No, they still have a lot of kinks and issues to work out. A win against a 2-win Jags team should not be the game you plant your flag down and say, this team's Super Bowl bound now. No, I hate to be that guy, but we all need to hear it. This Broncos team still has issues. And I think a second-round pick could help fix those issues moving forward. But be the GM. Would you trade Jerry Jeudy? T for trade or P for pass? Let me know in the comment section down below. This is the last question I want to ask you guys, so show up and show out. Let me know what you would do regarding Jerry Jeudy. All right, everyone, I appreciate all of you guys for tuning into today's show, making us a part of your day. I don't know. It wasn't our best video, I don't think, Nick, because it's not fun talking about trading and selling players after a win, but that's where they're at right now when you're 3 and 5. I'm not going to live in Candyland and act like everything's hunky-dory and this team's going to go win 6 in a row all of a sudden. I've got no reason to believe that. They have not shown that consistently. They have not stacked back-to-back wins once this year. So, sorry for being the Debbie Downer. I'm just being honest with you guys. I think a first and a second-round pick could go a lot further for this team than the current makeup of the roster.